Hi, and welcome to the World Networking Podcast. Philosophical Detours, Episode 9. Why is personal mindset important to prioritize? Oh, this one's very interesting to me. I feel like we've kind of touched on it in the past weeks, but having a strong personal mindset that's rooted in positivity is always a good start. There's going to be naturally ups and downs, so you can't always bet on being positive in the moment, right? So let's take a realistic approach with this. If you have your personal mindset at some degree of value and with some degree of focus, you are able to access more capabilities sometimes by slowing your mind down to a balanced place before acting on emotions or impulse. So being able to break that apart, being able to persuade yourself to value that exchange of time for a motivation of motion or emotion is powerful. That's a way of self-control that takes discipline and knowledge to achieve, as not everyone can simply put themselves to a degree of understanding why that's important without first reading or researching or experiencing some degree of mentorship. And that's the hard part for a lot of youth. I feel that struggle with their personal mindset and their mental health is, there's not good mentorship, or there's the resources they feel like they have access to. It doesn't feel personal, and it tends to limit their self motivation towards finding shortcuts or finding other help. And I feel like, I've done that myself, where I don't always feel like I should provide an answer. I feel like I should request one, as, how could I possibly know? How could I possibly have the experience? But when you take the time to break things down, it's like, that's what education's for. That's what you've grown up to do, is to be a problem solver, to be engaged with the world around you. And it's not just all, for the system or because of the system. It's actually because the degree of it that you need, and you need to thrive in the modern day. As we have to have critical thinking, we have to have team building. To work in public environments, you need to accept that you're going to work next to humans. You have to be okay with that to a certain degree, to a civil degree. So you may be low on that coffee, but remember that taking time to understand what works well for you will help you understand building better beginning approaches, and in turn a better environment for you and others. Knowing your enemy, as the art of war points out, and one can be an enemy of themselves. So I consider the art of war self-help in some weird aspect. There's parts of that where you can find value of understanding how to perceive it. So perceiving your approach and knowing your enemy is part of taking steps towards success, in my opinion. Understanding yourself is just as important when it comes to tackling problems the one's self can incur if left unreflected or amped up. If you let things build up and you don't understand why they're building up, that's never good. And that leads to problems if you can't honestly express. Being honest about why you're approaching a situation a certain way, or where this emotion is coming from, is important for your mental health. That's something I've learned, is to try your best to let go of grudges, as grudges seriously are just pent up energy that you could release into a different direction. So having balance is the last thing I can really add to personal mindset. With external resources or leadership, instilling yourself to, maybe form a positive habit like exercise or socializing, but to a balanced degree where you're not just that one thing all the time. It is important to stress adaptable routines, as we don't do well with a stagnant environment as humans. And there's some studies that prove that that's very much the case, especially with workouts. If you start getting used to your routine and it's easy, you have to switch it up. That's something that's actively known with the certain things. If you're trying to achieve a certain dynamic of a figure, you need to push, and it's a factor that is no different with the personal mindset. If you do the same thing with your mind and go to the same places, you're going to form a habit towards that, and habits become easy. So challenging and critically thinking through problems and even solutions, and understand why the thing was so smooth, and how you can ensure as smooth of a process as possible. The future is a good thing, but remembering that avoiding challenges isn't always a good thing is an important thing I would recommend considering when engaging with such things. There's a few quotes by some individuals I'm gonna be posting below. There's a quote by Seneca, 2 from Leonardo da Vinci, and 1 out of The Art of War, that I really feel are relevant with this episode, and thus I implore you to check those out and read along if you'd like. Appreciate you for being here today, and this has been the World Networking Podcast, Philosophical Detours, number 9. Thanks again.